Hey Brett, Philip coming at you here with area of triangles video. Alright, to start off we're going to talk about our definition of area. So, definition of area is the number of 1 by 1 squares we can fit into a given shape. Specifically we're talking about triangles. However, we're going to talk about rectangles really quick first so we can get a basis for what we're talking about. So if we have h things here by b things, so we'll call this base and height here. So if we look at, we have a b number of things going up here, and then we have h number of things going across, we can see that, okay, we have a nice little grid of 1 by 1 squares going now. And we could sit here and count them out, or we could say h times b will give us the number of all these squares because we're using our basic knowledge of multiplication. So area equals base times height. Alright, so using that, we're going to have to come back to that in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to have triangles where our third point is going to line up right above that our first point. We're going to have some that line up right in the middle of our base, and we're going to have some that line up outside of our base. And we're going to be able to find the area for all these triangles. Okay, so first we'll start out with our first triangle here that lines up right above the last point on our base here. So the easiest way, so we're going to have our triangle here and our right point. Well, the easiest thing to do is, okay, we're going to make a carbon copy of this triangle and flip it so it lines up right there and makes a perfect rectangle here. So then we're going to have our height here and our b here, and now that we have a full triangle, okay, base times height is going to give us our full area. However, we only need half of it because we only need half of that, which makes the triangle. So 1/2 base times height is what we need to solve for that triangle. Alright, moving on to the next one. So we have our triangle here that's going to line up right in the middle. It's going to look like something like that. Alright, so now we can kind of use a similar idea of making it into a rectangle. However, it's going to be a little different. So we'd imagine that, okay, let's split this line right down the middle, and so now we have two right triangles, and we're going to make those carbon copies again like we talked beforehand, and flip them over to find the area of this one triangle and triangle 2. Now if we do that and we find the individual areas, well, we found that area for these two and we bring them together, so we found all this area, and we still have this area that we don't need, but it's still going to be just 1/2 of the area that we're going to find because we only needed this half of the rectangle of the area. So we still use 1/2 base times height to find the area. Alright, so the next triangle we're going to look at is a little bit more complicated, but don't worry, we're still going to figure it out. Alright, so if we have, it's called an obtuse triangle that lines up outside of our base, our initial base here. Alright, so our height, we're going to be able to line up outside of the triangle. Alright, just to give us a kind of a better look at it here. And then, so we're still going to have h. This is going to be our base. This is going to be our smaller base here, which we'll label x for now. So now, how do you find this area? Well, it's a little bit more complicated, so let's use our knowledge that we already know of height and base and how we're going to find it. So if we want to find, this is going to be our big base here, we'll call this, it's going to be, to find the area of that triangle, it's going to be 1/2 of the height times x plus b. So this is going to be to find our whole area of the triangle. So that's going to be that whole triangle. It's going to be that area. Well, we only want the area of this triangle here. So we need to take out the area of this triangle here, which is going to be 1/2 x times h, because x is our little base. So when we look at and we distribute, So we're going to have 1/2 xh plus 1/2 base times height minus 1/2 xh. Well, if we see that our 1/2 xh's here cancel out because of that negative there, and all we're left with is 1/2 base times height. So for all three triangles, we use the same 1/2 base times height to find the area of our triangles. So that's how we're going to find the area of all of our triangles. Thank you, Brett. Have a good night and a great summer.